Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to create how to create we are going to see how to create this 3D slider using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. As far as I know, this is the first video in YouTube where you can see this 3D slider. There are some videos which is created with object oriented JavaScript, but this is the first video which I have created with vanilla JavaScript, the functional way. Cool. Now you can see the next and previous button getting displayed. Sorry, it's working as we thought, because it's showing the previous images and it's showing the next images. Now other than the center image, the left and right image got blurred. So to follow along, I left this source code in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste and start along with me. So this is the 75th JavaScript video, and likewise the same way I have other 75 JavaScript video, 74 JavaScript video in as a playlist. So in case if you are interested in learning JavaScript, I will leave the link of the playlist in the description and start learning. So just to give you a glimpse, what really happens here is we have three container, a gallery container. I have stored these three gallery container into an array. So once I click on the next button, what happens is the third element of an array gets to the first place, and the first place gets shifted to the second place. If you don't understand, just rewatch it what I said, and that's the glimpse of the JavaScript. The same way, if you click on previous button, the the fourth value gets shifted to the first one, and the first one gets shifted to the second one. Fine. Without wasting time, let's start coding.
Bensound.com.
Alright, let's start creating this slider using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Fine. I have created a folder which has images. We have 3 images along with index file, index.html file, script.js file and style.css file. You can name your file in any way. The main requirement is after dot it should be either .html, .css or .js. So prefix to dot, you can have any name, and I have linked the style sheet in the HTML, and I have linked the JavaScript file also in the HTML at the footer. Footer in the sense just below where our body tag closes. Now I'll just explain you the HTML rather than wasting time on writing the HTML. It's going to be same. Now we have a main global container. This container is required because at present I'm just showing it as a single section. In your website you might have multiple section, and just to give height and width properly, this section is required. As for this video, this is going to be a it is no use of having this in your website, in your current project as we are creating right now, but in the real website this div is mainly required just to give the height to your section. The second one is the very important container, which is gallery holder, which holds all your images along with the controls. So this gallery holder is responsible for having or positioning your previous and next button properly at the center. And then comes our image folder, and once you copy this, I have just copy pasted it multiple times, so just to have multiple images in your website. So the major class is gallery item, and gallery item 1, gallery item 2, gallery item 3. I'll be calling it in the JavaScript file, but for the CSS, gallery item is really important. And inside the gallery item we have image, and I have linked the image in the image folder, image 1, image 2 and image 3. We'll be just linking it. Cool. And it doesn't have any class, we can directly access it. And after the image we have a section called heading. We have a div called heading, which is responsible for showing the image's name. You can see image name cake 2, cake name 3, cake name 4. Fine. Now let's get into the CSS. And just to save time, I have written all the CSS rule so that we don't lose our CSS specificity. Specificity is another topic which is really important in order to write your HTML or CSS properly without getting your CSS getting overlapped with another elements. Fine. Just to give you an overview, I have added the font awesome icon, which is Roboto, and for all element I have added the font family as Roboto just to save time instead of specifying the paragraph and writing it. So this would be applied for all the HTML elements in this current document. And I have removed the margin and padding. As of now, let's see how does our HTML looks like. Control O, and then in the desktop I have an index file. The second you'll be able to open it. So this is how your HTML looks like. And the first thing is we need to design the body. So width is going to be 100% of viewport width, height is going to be 100% of viewport height, and the background is going to be red. It's not going to be pure red. We can hover on it and just slide it so that we get some pinkish color, and here you got it. So once this is done, we would be using the same height and width of the body to our gallery container. So we can use the same by using 100% width of 100% and height of 100%. So once this is done, we know our gallery holder holds 3 gallery items, so we can use display flex, so it will be displayed one after the other. And uh, without getting confused, I would like to make the uh, gallery holder, specify the gallery holder. So I think the gallery holder width and width is about 400 pixel and height is about 300 pixel, and we have to give the position property because our controls would be having position absolute. So position absolute. So if you see, this is a button, previous and next button, we can directly style this. So just to see what really what happening is, we can give background color to it. We're not able to see, fine, that's not an issue. Now we need to place the previous and next button at the center of your gallery holder. So from the top 50%, and whenever you use 50% top, we need to write translate y of minus 50%. Now it would be at the center. Now this is previous, so the left need to be 0, and for the next, the right should be 0. As of now, let's just comment our images so that we can see what really happening. percentage, let's just see. The scope of this section is we have to place our controls left and right of the gallery holder. So let's see how we can make this. Select the previous seems to be working fine, but after it's not getting applied. Okay, the thing is we have to give position absolute not to the controls but to the, so let me give another class btn. And now it would work. The reason for previously not working is we have applied the position absolute and top to the parent, not on the individual button. Since this class is common to both the buttons, once we give position absolute and width, it works like it's work as we needed. Now we can style the button like padding 1 rem top and bottom, left and right 1 rem, and we can make the font size 0.8 rem, 0.5, and 0.1, sorry, just 1. Cool. And if you need border radius 50 percentage, in order for the bottom radius to work properly, you have to give the height and width same. So height 30 pixel, width 30 pixel, 50, 50. Yeah, that works. So once we add this, we don't need this padding. Now to we just copy paste this to the common task, so we don't have to write it again and again to both the left and right. Cool, that works. And we don't need the border since it's a button. We can make the border as 0 and outline as none. And once I hover it, we want the cursor to be pointed. Cool, now this works. Somehow we need to place this section at the center of the screen, so that's very simple. We have added this gallery holder, we have given the height and width, and we can place it display flex, align item center, and justify content center. Cool. Now just to take this on the left and right, we can give negative value to the left and right, -5, -5 over here. Now we can remove this and place our images over here. And I'll just have one image again and write the CSS, so one perfectly fits. Now let's use the take name to overlap with our image. Now if you see, our gallery holder has the width and height, so we need to specify the same to the image. So width of 100% and height of 100%. And for the heading we can give position absolute. So in order for the position absolute to work, we need to call the container. Here in this case it's gallery item position relative. So for the image to work position height and width, we need to give its container the height and width. Let's see what is getting the issue. So the container height and width is 400 by 500, 400 by 300, and the image holder is again 400 by 300, and the image is again 400 by 300, but this is getting an issue. Top of 0, yeah, that works. Now since it's following the top down approach, to have this over, we would be using bottom of 0 and width of 100% and background color of white, and we can make the opacity of 0.7 so that we can see as a transparent, and padding top bottom 1 rem for all sides, let this be 1 rem, and text align center. Instead of making this opacity, we can reduce the transparency on the white, hover on the color, just drag it down a bit, and you're good to go. Cool. So this is particularly for the first element. Let me just uncomment this and show you. So instead of giving height 100, we can just copy this and paste it over here. And now each of them has the same height of the container. Now we want to properly position it. We want the first cake to be on the left side, second cake to be on the center, and the third cake to be on the side. So how are we going to do it? We need to grab the individual class 1, 2, and 3, and we need to focus on the. We are going to use the position absolute and position relative. So that's what I'm checking, where we can give our. So gallery holder, we can make the gallery holder as position relative, so that we can use position absolute on these three. The first one, we can use position absolute, and left of 50 percentage. One is 80, and let the z index be -1. And now we can remove this red, or just leave it just so that we don't get confused. So this is the second one. The same way, if we get the third one, -80. So this is the, I think we'll focus on the second one and then go to the third one so that we don't get confused. Let the left be 0 and the z index be 1, because the center should get more attention. Instead of that, we can directly use the inspect element to save our time. Select the second one, and now we can give position absolute. So this position absolute is relative is getting issue, so we can take that, or we can give important to this relative, so it gets, yeah, that works. Now we want the second to be slightly bigger, so we can use transform scale property. Transform scale on point 2. It's transform or transition. Cool. Just copy the whole section and paste it. And for the third one, I've copy pasted the same thing. We don't need this. It should be -1. And 80. Cool. Copy the whole section and paste it. Now the rest of them should have filter blur of 5 pixel. The same way, give this to the third one as well. So our pointer has gone, because pointer in the sense controls has gone down, so we have to give the z index little higher. So I have applied it to the common class. So where is z index? It's over here. Just copy this and paste it on the common button, and as you see, we have to make the button left and right, arrange -16 and -16. I think it work. Cool. And now it's time for the JavaScript. Alright, I have added the JavaScript steps here. Now let's start creating it. Now, before doing anything, we need to remove this background color and we need to add a transition 0.5s on the gallery item so that we can see a uh, smooth movement between the images. Fine. The first thing what we need to do is we need to get all the elements in the HTML so that we get this. So this is the common item document query selector all, since we have multiple gallery item. And it's an array, so we need to convert it into an array with the spread operator. So previously it was a node list and now it's an array, so we would be using array function, and then we need to get the previous and next button. So we don't need to convert this into an arrays with the spread operator. We just need to call it with the help of, it's a class name, so dot would work. It's a single element, so query selector all will not make sense. So pre button, copy paste it again, and this is next button. The class name also need to be changed. So we got all the HTML elements and we have converted the gallery item. Now we need to create a function that will remove the class, which is gallery item 1, gallery item 2 and gallery item 3. So since it's an array, we can directly we'll create a function class. We will remove class, we can access them with the help of for each loop dot for each. It's actually an array, so we don't have to write it. So it's creating an arrow function. We don't need arrow function for better understanding. So we can access the individual gallery item. There seems to be an error, which is, I don't think we don't need this. Yes, we need this. It's better that we write by ourselves. Function can access the individual gallery item, single item. So I need to remove it, so we can access the class of the element by class list dot remove, and the class is, for the first one, gallery item 1. For the first element, remove the gallery item 1. For the second element, remove the gallery item 2, and the third one, gallery item 3. 2 and 3. So if we try it, one gallery item would be removed. Let me just check it. So you can see gallery item 1 got removed by the over here. Cool. So that means that's working. Let me uncomment this and make it as it is. Now it's time to add the gallery item class again. So why I'm creating this class, it's an helper class. We will be calling it on the main function. So let's create a function that will add the class. The same way, use the for each loop. In this case, we'd be using the slice function dot slice, starting from 0 and end. We have 3 items, so we need to pass 4. Start from 0 and end on 4 minus 1, which is 3. So this is how the syntax is, and with the help of the for each, we can access the element and its index number. So here we need to make a calculation I into 1. So each time, for the first element, gallery item 1 will be added. For the second time, gallery item 2 will be added. For the third time, gallery item 3 will be added. That's the reason why I have used a slice and the for each loops index. Now it's time to add event listener, previous button. Call the previous button and add event listener, which is click. So once I click on it, what should happen? It's very straightforward. I want to take and comment this. Let me just show you. Take the last item of an array and add it to the first with the help of unshift and pop. When we click on previous button, I want to take the last item and add it to the first as a first item. So let's check. So after that, once we make the change in the array, we want to remove all the class and we want to add it again. Refresh it, click on previous. There seems to be an error. Let's see what it is. Single item is not defined. We have copy pasted it from the previous one, that's why single item is not defined. It's just an element. To access individual gallery item one by one, we have used the parameter, so we have to use the same parameter over here. So there's a glitch in the CSS, but don't worry, we'll work on it. So just copy it one more time and make this for the next button. So when it's next, it's very straightforward. We have to take the first item and add it to the last. Using the push and shift. Let's copy it and let's check again. Next, next, next. So it's working perfectly, but there seems to be a glitch in the CSS. We'll fix it. Just to check the order, if this is 2, so if I click on next, 3 should come, but 1 is coming. Fine. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that works. 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Fine, that works. Now let's fix the CSS glitch. I found the glitch. When I click, just notice the gallery item 1, gallery item 2, gallery item 3. Click on previous button. You'll see 1, 2 and 3 is not getting added. Instead of 3 we are getting 0. So here we have to fix here. Call a bracket again, plus 1. Cool. It's working as we thought. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening.